Hey soccer fans, welcome to this week's episode of Quakes Exclusive. Coming up on today's show, we'll break down the Earthquakes' 2-1 victory over LAFC on Saturday, plus we'll have an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the Levi Stadium experience. And we'll tell you why the Earthquakes can't overlook the LA Galaxy in their match coming up this weekend. Welcome inside of Studio 74 at PayPal Park. Alongside the former Earthquakes midfielder Chris Dangerfield and World Cup reporter Carlos Eustace, I'm Kylan Mills. The San Jose Earthquakes hand LAFC their first loss of the MLS season with a 2-1 victory at Levi Stadium. Winger Christian Espinosa dazzled the crowd of more than 45,000 fans with a brace to lift the Quakes to victory. Danger, what were your biggest takeaways from this huge win?
You know, I'm really enjoying these post-game comments by Coach Lucy Gonzalez because she's always quick to thank others, first of all. This time, the front office for putting on such a fantastic event at Levi Stadium. And then he talks about this Quakes team being able to compete with anybody in this league, and they did compete. They competed in the wide areas with matchups like Trajo and Vea, and also Paul Marie and Boango on the other side of the field. They competed and pressed in the midfield. They dominated that midfield against a very, very good LAFC team. And they had the players up front with Espinosa and Bobasi, K-Cal that troubled. One of the best defenses in Major League Soccer as well. I know there was 45,000 people there, probably to watch most of it for the event itself and also maybe to watch Carlos Vea. And I'm fine with that. But, you know, I hope some of those fans recognize the job that Luchi Gonzalez is doing with this Quakes team to make them competitive and not only beat one of the best teams in Major League Soccer, but take that unbeaten streak away from LAFC.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also the atmosphere, right? I think what you're talking about, like, coming into the event, that it was big. It's an NFL stadium. It seats 68,000 people. You're able to put 45,000 in there. A very smart move, moving the LAFC fans all the way to the upper tier because they tend to be really, really loud. But what Danger was saying is just being able to make more of that community. A lot of people might have come to this game thinking, like we saw with their Mexican national team jerseys, with their Mexican league jerseys, and coming in, seeing the Earthquakes play like that, being able to put on a show, get the win, and then all the fantastic activities we had at the beginning, people really hyped for them. I was able to host a Q&A with Misael Espinosa, former Quakes player, and Jared Borghetti, and there was a big crowd just waiting for them. So the fact that they were also able to hype them up, it was good for the win.
The crowd was certainly fired up when Christian Espinosa scored in the 8th minute to put the Earthquakes up 1-0. Espinosa has been fantastic all season, but this really was a great buildup from the Quakes as a team. It started with the ball played out to Cade Cowell. Danger, how did the Earthquakes passing help open up this opportunity for Espinosa?
Well, last week in the episode, we talked about the Quakes needing a fast start to engage this big crowd. And certainly they did that. This is in the 8th minute of the game, and you can see how many players are getting forward in this particular attack for the Earthquakes. Yes, once they got into that area, there's some great interaction with, first of all, Bobasi getting the ball out to Cade Cowell. Cade cuts inside, as he likes to do, and he also found Bobasi once again. He has the options in front of him to lay the ball off to Ramiro Montero. Montero then sees the ability to thread it through the legs of the LAFC defender, and it goes to the man. Christian Espinosa, he's playing with so much confidence that he didn't even really strike the ball in the back of the net. He more passed it under the goalkeeper to get it under McCarthy to score the opening goal. But for me, it was just that intensity and the commitment the Quakes had to start the game off on the front foot.
A strong start for the Earthquakes. However, this LAFC team did not let up for a second of this match. In the 30th minute, it was LA attacker Denny Bouanga who put away a rebound off the hands of Earthquakes goalkeeper JT Marcinkowski. That was Bouanga's 8th goal of the MLS season, tying this game up at 1 apiece. It's also important to mention the Earthquakes backline was without starting right back Carlos Acapo, who is out due to a groin injury. Miguel Trauco started on the left side while Paul Marie slid over from left to right. With that in mind about this back line, how do you feel like they were able to hold off the LAFC pressure overall in this match?
Well, on Wednesday when we had the open practice at Levi Stadium, Luchi Gonzalez told me something that made sense once the game started, is the fact that the field at Levi Stadium is a little narrower than the one here in PayPal Park. Why does that help the defensive line? Well, they don't spread you out as easy. It's harder to put the spaces, and they made it to perfection because they were able to be compact, have Carlos Grueso have that balance in the middle to not let any of the midfielders from LAFC to come in. And then obviously we're talking about the right back and the left back. Miguel Trauco is a national team caliber player. He hasn't gotten the minutes because Paul Murray was in such a hot streak. Carlos Acapo was doing really well. But the fact that you have that internal competition, the fact that they can come in and pressure and make it count when you're facing the best team in the league and the current champions, that's why the defensive line is being so good, especially when you're six games undefeated at home.
Well, thanks to some of that strong defense, the Earthquakes attack came through with some late game heroics. It was Jeremy Abobasi who earned the penalty kick in the 83rd minute, and then Espinoza who calmly buried it from the spot to give the Earthquakes a 2-1 lead. That was Espinoza's 8th goal of the MLS season. That's the most he's ever scored in a single season. Now, Espinoza has been known as the setup man. Now he has since evolved into such an effective goal scorer. What has changed?
It's a mentality, I think. I read an article recently about Christian where he talked about when he was home in Argentina in the off-season, he made a commitment to get closer to the goal. It sounds a simple thing, but he's getting himself tucked into areas where he can get the shot off on goal rather than trying to cut in or service from the outside areas. And it's really working out for him and also the Earthquakes. He's still getting those assists, but he's getting himself in better positions, and there's a confidence that's coming and building with him. And it's going throughout the whole team right now, to be fair. The locker room is very much together, but Espinoza is becoming the leader. He's taken that responsibility on so strongly for himself as well. But I think it comes into that mentality of getting himself into more scoring areas. And he's definitely in the shout right now as MVP of this league with the form he's playing in.
Head coach Luchi Gonzalez described this as a gritty win, and he said the 45,000 fans in attendance were a huge part of that. That was the 3rd largest crowd in MLS this season, the largest outside of opening weekend as well. Carlos, what was the atmosphere like?
I mean, it was huge. It was a big part of it. I mean, I already talked about like how the crowd started getting rallied behind the team. But also, we have to say, this is going to be a World Cup venue. In 2026, Levi Stadium is going to hold games for the World Cup. And the players knew about it, and they even felt it. I mean, I got to talk to Christian Espinoza at the end of the game, and I asked him, like, how does it feel to score on a venue like this? And I think a lot of that energy, knowing that you could possibly see, and it was almost 3 times the amount of people you see in PayPal Park behind you in that field, knowing what it means, it made a big difference to get the result.
The entire day was such a blast, and now we go to an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the game day experience at Levi's Stadium.
Win on 3, 1, 2, 3, win!
There is the whistle. It is on here at Levi's Stadium. Out on the left wing from Abobasi to Cowell. Cowell forces it back in for Abobasi, who's posting up. Lays it back for Montero. And Espinoza! To start off the month of May. Bogish into the 18, left-hand side. Comes out on top, takes a shot back. Post knocked down by Marcinkowski. Rebound, goal! LAFC equalizes off the rebound. And it is a 1-1 game here in the 30th minute.
¿Qué dice el árbitro? Que se acaba la primera mitad, el marcador. San José Earthquakes 1, Los Ángeles Football Club 1.
Guys. I love the things we're doing, but we got another half of a war left. Everybody focused, everybody believing, one play at a time. You guys have anything?
I'll pick it up.
You guys want this or what? Hey,
Come on.
you want this or what?
Come on.
Yeah. It's right there. Let's grab it. Let's go. Come on. 20 segundos para salir. 20 seconds to get up.
Yeah.
Blocking their shot.
Welcome score after 45 and change between the San Jose Earthquakes and LAFC. Fielding a pass along the near touchline, playing it into Montero, up to Espinosa. Espinosa, Montero, leading Paul Marie, right elbow. Paul Marie crossing to Bobasi. Bobasi is taken down. It's a point to the spot. The game turns in an instant.
El árbitro revisa que todos estén fuera del área. Cristian toma impulso, golpea la pelota. ¡Gol!
Quakes! Second goal of the game! Major League Soccer's Player of the Month for April is the Player of the Month in the first game day of May, giving San Jose a 2-1 lead in the 83rd minute from the spot. The Earthquakes gather and clear up the near touchline. The San Jose Earthquakes and LAFC, their first loss of the year. And the San Jose Earthquakes tell the entirety of Major League Soccer and the Western Conference they are for real in 2023.
The Earthquakes just can't get away from these Southern California teams. Now they head down to the LA Galaxy for a clash this weekend. The Galaxy are off to their worst start in club history with just one win through 10 matches. They've been playing around a little bit with different formations, a 4-3-3, a 4-2-2, a couple other different looks. How do you see this group stacking up against the Earthquakes?
They're a frustrated team, aren't they, right now? The Galaxy under Greg Vanney, and I think he's trying various formations, trying to find that little bit of magic, but at the same time, they're a very dangerous team. The Clásico has always had some fantastic matches, some great rivalry between San Jose and the LA Galaxy specifically, and I expect them to try and do everything they can to get a positive result against the Earthquakes. That being said, Carlos, nobody wants to take on this Earthquakes team right now.
To your point about this being a potentially dangerous game for the Earthquakes, the LA Galaxy are second in MLS in possession. They've been out shooting opponents. They just haven't quite been able to score. The Galaxy are looking for that breakthrough game. They have quality in their attack, and now they're going to have the extra motivation of a rivalry matchup. Carlos, how do the Earthquakes prevent that from happening?
Well, I mean, again, you have to be tight in defense. And when you think about what happened last year at Stanford, I mean, Chicharito came in, scored twice. He had a really good year last year. He's struggling to find the back of the net this year. Joveljic, who had an also great year last year and to help him carry LA Galaxy to the playoffs, has also not been able. And when with the addition of Ricky Puig, for some reason, when you look at those names and what they've done, I mean, Chicharito being one of the best poachers in the game for years and the leading scorer in the Mexican national team, the fact that they haven't been able to find the back of the net when they're actually creating the opportunities, it's kind of crazy. But as Danger was saying, you're coming to a Cali Clásico. Most things don't matter in those games. And when you look at what happened in Stanford last year, you got to be careful with the Mexican.
Well, we're going to wrap up today's show doing something a little bit different. I've got 3 prediction questions for each of you. We're all going to give our answers, and then next week we'll see who got exactly what right. First question for you both. We'll start with you, Danger. In this match, will the total goals be over, under, or exactly at 3?
I'm going exactly at 3. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for the Earthquakes. I do see it being a tighter game. We talked about the Galaxy and we talked about them outpossessing Colorado in the last game, but losing 3-1. I think they're having issues defensively, and I think that Espinosa, Coward, and Bobasi, they will take advantage of that. But I do see it being a tight game.
I'm going to go with the over. I think it's going to be more than 3 goals. Unfortunately, the Earthquakes have not found a good form away, so that great defensive formation that we've seen at home hasn't really progressed. But because they're coming with this momentum, I feel that we're firing all cylinders and they can get more goals than the LA Galaxy.
I'm actually on the same page as Danger. I'm going to say exactly at 3. Now, moving along to our next question, who will score first, Carlos?
I think the Quakes are going to score first. They've been trying to put that pedal to the metal right at the beginning of the game, being able to find those spaces. And I can see Christian Espinosa getting another goal.
Yeah, I've got to go with Carlos on this one because I think that tactically, Luchi Gonzalez has got his team set up well to start games off on the front foot. We saw it this last weekend against LAFC, and I think it's very important for the Quakes on the road to get their first victory, to start the same way, get that first goal on the road.
We're all in agreement on this one. I think the Earthquakes are going to score first. The Galaxy gave up an early goal to the Rapids in their match last weekend. The Earthquakes have been coming out really strong, so that's how I see this one playing out. Now, our last question, will Cade Cowell show up to the match in cowboy boots and a cowboy hat? What do you think, Danger?
Well, the question I got for the Earthquakes fans out there is who rocked it best? I mean, is it Cade Cowell or is it the legend Troy Dyack with his cowboy outfit as well? I mean, either one of them could be in Yellowstone Series 3 as it comes up. So for me, it's 50-50 on that one.
To me, it's going to depend on how much Kay wants to pack. I mean, it's an away game. It's not a long flight, but I would really want to put those cowboy boots on the luggage, so I think he's going to save it for the next home match.
I was thinking that same thing, but it did work. So for reference, Cade Cowell wore the cowboy boots and hat to the LAFC game. The Earthquakes got the victory. So I'm actually hoping that he wears the same thing in the spirit of, just hoping that we'll keep that positive momentum going. The Earthquakes now take on the LA Galaxy on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time is kickoff at Dignity Health Sports Park. If you can't be there in person down in Southern California to cheer on the Earthquakes, you can watch that game right here on Apple TV's MLS Season Pass. That'll do it for today's episode of Quakes Exclusive. We'll see you next time.